Well, I guess the first question will be for R. Corey Hay. He told me the R stands for ruthless. Just how ruthless are you guys?
If it won't kill little children, I'll probably say it.
True or not?
Absolutely. Of course it has to be true. I mean, basically, we're dealing with freedom of speech. It's the basic law of our land, Tracy, and we have to remember that that's called the First Amendment. And it's no accident that it's the First Amendment, not the Last Amendment. And the freedom of speech umbrella protects talk about not just politics, but about TV stars, movie stars, even Broadway stars.
Jessica
Yes,
James.
but what? Hello there. How are you?
Good. I think she's seething over there.
Yeah, well, I really am. I mean, there's such a thing as a personal life, too. And when you work in the business, you make your money and you entertain, hopefully, the people out there. You love to do it. But still in all, there's such a thing as a personal life. And I think, you know, the beginning of show business, when Belasco and all those Broadway managers had stars, I mean, they would just keep them undercover, and there was a mystique about it. Now, everybody knows everybody's business, and one of the problems I think that the public has is that they don't have enough personal life and enough creativity of their own, that they have to creep into other people's and mind other people's business, and I think it's just shocking.
But the point Larry Menti, I think, was made by some people in his piece is that people who are becoming celebrities, perhaps the series they're in or the movie they're in isn't enough to propel them to stardom, so their agents want to get their names in the paper and make headlines no matter what.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, headlines about something that they have created and done, yeah, I can see that. But, I mean, I was in a show for 5.5 years, Gemini, on Broadway, and I did so much publicity, I wore myself out. And it never got me a job. And it didn't do anything. It didn't do a darn thing for me. So I don't know how much of that is ego and how much of that is really worth a darn. I mean, to me,
it's ridiculous. On the way up, Jessica, you wanted your picture in the paper. You wanted those column items. Don't give me that. Even before you became a star, even wanted to be an actor, I bet you enjoyed a little gossip about the stars, didn't you? And then when you grow up and you become a star like Jessica, there's this huge public relations machine that they spend millions of dollars to manage the news about the stars. Because the stars want only their point of view brought forward, just what they want you to hear. But that does not serve the public. The public is served by many voices, and it's my right to find it out and your right to hear all of it, so you can make an intelligent decision.
Yeah, well, that's true, but what
I mean, I think it's a serious thing.
In the 30s, let's go to the 30s, when you go looking back at that stuff like that, what was that, Zelig had a bunch of 30 clips of movies, and they were about people that were getting their attention and doing daredevil things. One of the things that I think is wrong right now, that the publicity people, and pardon me, the gossip people, aren't creative. I mean, you know, they're talking about who's got whose baby and who's not marrying who and all this and that and the other, and to me that's just boring.
But what if it's true and the public is interested? Why shouldn't the public be interested if Farrah Fawcett, as the gossip columns are saying, is carrying Ryan O'Neal's baby?
That's true.
I don't think it's anybody's business what those two people are doing. I really don't.
I just object to this so much. When the star, when an actor decides to become a star, decides to thrust themselves energetically, forcefully into the public light, they automatically forfeit their right to a private life the way a private citizen would have. They automatically, not only do they forfeit, in my opinion, morally, but of course, legally, they absolutely forfeit this right. There are laws that actually are different for private citizens and public figures.
Okay, but at what point, for example, would you have to, at what point would you be able to put into a column in a newspaper, say on TV, that Farrah was expecting Ryan's child? I mean, how can you tell?
I said that on television a long time ago because, well, I'm not going to tell you who told me, but a family member told me that. I can tell you right now they're going to get married in April. I mean, you have to have, let's face it. Now, when I say I'll say it, it has to have two sources to it. Let's face it. We have to, well, I'll let you go, but the point is this. You can say it if you know it to be true, if you feel it to be true, and that's usually done by having two independent sources.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that I really can't stand is when someone said a good family friend or a very close friend. And anybody who talks about their best friends, I don't call them best friends, you know. And the newspapers do that all the time, and gossip
because I mean, no one talks to us anymore.
Front page of certain newspapers in the city will use these hearsays. I think hearsays are baloney. I think if somebody's going to say something about somebody that they should put their name next to it, or else I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
I'd like to know whether the public believes it,
Tracy.
Or for ruthless Corey Hayes. But right now we're going to take a short break, and when we return, we're going to answer phone calls to find out what the public thinks. We'll hear your comments and questions on the role of... Stay with us. We'll be right back.
If you have questions about gossip columnists, do they invade people's privacy? Call Newsline 7 at 955-9800. Call now.
Our Newsline 7 topic today, gossip columns. Are they an invasion of privacy? You can call us at 212-955-9800. We're back with our guests, Jessica James and R. Curry Hay. We hope you guys will listen as we take one of our callers. I want to hear what they think. Someone on the line?
Hello?
Hi, this is Channel 7. Go ahead with your question.
I would just like to say that even though a person is in the public eye, they still have a right to privacy. Yay. I live in upstate. I am in the public eye. I certainly have a right to my privacy, and I resent anyone at all, coming into my private life and exploiting me in any way.
Are you going to tell us who you are?
Absolutely not.
I think that, you know who it is. It's probably Joan Collins. And the reason she objects is probably because she wants to write that tell-all book and tell everything themselves. Look, you watch.
It's Joan Collins. I hope you use a little bit more
okay, and I'm just
substantial
making a joke
background.
You know, if you're an insurance salesman, let us put it this way, a super-duper insurance salesman, #1 insurance salesman, people don't go and ask you what you do with your husband after the doors are closed or what you don't do.
But if you date Liz Taylor, they'll start asking, which is what happened to Dennis Stein.
Yeah.
Well, but he knew that was coming.
I feel sorry
he knew
for
that
her
was coming
because of that. I really do. I think it's just pitiful. She couldn't even mourn her dead ex-husband Love in peace.
But her greatest role has been lived on the front page. She courts that kind of publicity. If you want to be a star and have a private life, you can do it. If you want to be Paul Newman, if you want to be Robert Redford, we don't read a lot about them in the gossip columns because they basically lead exemplary private lives. But when you're Elizabeth Taylor and you're out there, you know, going publicly into the clinic, coming out of the clinic, getting fat, doing everything, everything is in public.
Well, don't you think she tries to keep out of the limelight? Oh, I think she does.
No, she doesn't try to stay out of the limelight. She tries to stay in the limelight.
I think she does.
I think she's fought to stay in the front pages, and that's her greatest role.
Well, if you're out there, tell us what you think, right?
I just read one of the rags, which admittedly, when it's on the table at my father's house, I don't buy it, but I read it. Has an article about Liz Taylor. It says Dennis Stein, why he rewarded her with a $200,000 shopping spree. It says because she lost 7 pounds, and he took her to a banquet of food, and she didn't say, wrap it, I'll take the whole thing. She passed everything up. Now, it almost strikes me as cruel. A woman of that age having a weight problem, making these kind of headlines
Joan Rivers wouldn't have a career if it weren't for the weight that this is gossip, I guess. I'm going back. Well, I'm very angry at that. Because, I mean, the woman was heavy. I mean, she wasn't allowed to be heavy. Why aren't women allowed to be heavy? Why is that a topic of gossip? I just think it's awful.
The stars know what's coming when they put themselves in the public eye, and they have to accept it. You can't open a magazine where they're not confessing everything in an interview, or as I suggested with Joan Collins, or Lauren Bacall. They make money telling everything about their own past. That's why I don't like the columns.
Because it's happened to me a couple of times, and recently, where I really got into a terrific amount of trouble with the producer friend of mine, not of my particular show, where they accused me of giving an interview about a project that I'm doing. And all they did,
play?
Well, yes, my Mae West play, but they took the different columns out of the paper that I'd done 5 years ago and put the wrong name of the play and also the composer, the wrong name of the composer, and said that I had given this interview. And I hadn't been near this woman in
Well, that's wrong. You know, and I cross my heart and hope to die and don't lie. I mean, you've got to tell the truth. And believe me, there's enough good dirt out there that you never need to make it up or splice it up either.
All right, well, once again, let's find out what the public is thinking. This time we're going to go to some taped interviews with members of the public who talked with Larry Mendte about whether they think privacy is invaded by gossip columnists.
I think that when you're a celebrity and stuff, you've got your own private life, and you have a right to it.
There's public figures are public figures, and they're on exhibit. They're people that expect to be written about.
A lot of times they're not even true. A lot of times you read them and it's all garbage. Can't even see why people buy them.
I'm nodding because she asked me, are we getting any calls? We do have calls, which we'll take in a minute, but I think you can see from the people that have been talking, Jessica, that they're not really backing you up. It seems to me we've got like 5 gossip mongers to 1 person who thinks gossip may not be true.
Well, that doesn't make it wrong. I mean, either way. I mean, it's just a matter of opinion, and I knew if by some bloody miracle I ever got to be a huge star, I know one thing, I would put on wigs and glasses and run around.
And
because it's just awful. I was standing next to Paul Newman one time in front of Sardi's, and they discovered that it was Paul Newman all this, and it was like a wave of people came running at him, and actually both of us had to run inside the Sardi so we wouldn't get killed. I mean, it was really frightening.
Let's find out from our callers if there's a caller on the phone. Maybe they have a comment on whether they would do that if they saw Paul Newman standing on the sidewalk. Caller, are you there?
Hi. Well, my name is Joan, although it's not Joan Collins. And I want to tell this gentleman that he is in a very parasitic kind of profession. He lives from other people's lives. But my comment is, my question is, does he have any limits beyond which he will not print something?
Joan, I think you heard him say if it wouldn't kill little children and it was true, he'd print it.
I did. I said that. As far as being parasitic goes, I disagree completely. I am protecting your right to know. You know, this country uses their entertainment dollar. It's like you're voting. And I have to provide all the information I can use for you to make that intelligent vote. Will I watch Tom Selleck? Will I watch Dynasty? Will I watch Dallas? Will I see this movie? And you cannot make that decision unless I give you all that information you need. Just like you need all the information about the politicians to make an intelligent choice. I, as an entertainment reporter, as a consumer reporter, provide you the information to make the decision you need to make.
Jessica, in your best Mae West voice, what do you have to say very quickly because we're out of time?
Well, I think this world should be left alone and people should make their own opinions out of the information that they garner for whatever they get through their own senses and don't need gossip columnists to tell them what's going on. It's too bad people don't live creative lives. I didn't do Mae West, but what the heck?
What the heck? Our thanks to our guests, Jessica James and R. Curry Hay. Our thanks also to all of you who called us with your questions and comments. I'm sorry that I didn't get to more of you callers. On our Newsline 7 tomorrow, women, sex, and romance. We'll be discussing a surprising new survey by columnist Ann Landers on how women feel about sex and romance.